our allies and people who are also interested in stability and stamping out terrorism and all the other good things to join with us this time and come in a united approach that will be backed unanimously by the departments of the United States government with this bipartisan support and bicameral support of our legislature, and a number of look at ways we can go to prevent this, involving young people, involving women, involving a lot of other private sector, so that we can get rid of this terrorism once and for all, so our children and our grandchildren don't have to deal with it.
All right. Well, Governor Kane, you're certainly a great example of a lifelong public servant. You keep coming back to help us figure things out. We appreciate that. And for Senator Graham, for you joining us today, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So a new study says the Democrats' Green New Deal could cost up to that staggering amount that you see there on the screen. That's $93 trillion. Ahead, a Republican congressman from Alabama, he's got something to say about that. And it's day one of the Michael Cohen Capitol Hill testimony. What did Democrats want to get out of President Trump's former lawyer?
What other light can he shed now that he's cooperating on issues of obstruction of justice or collusion? What more can he tell us about the Trump Tower New York meeting?
Central banks load up on gold. What do they know that you don't? Gold has beaten the S&P 500 index so far this century. Gold poised to jump in 2019.
Everyone who's in retirement or nearing retirement can't afford not to hold some gold and silver.
Call now and get this exclusive video. See why banks, billionaires, and financial experts are buying gold.
People don't buy gold because people don't understand it. Get some information and understand why people like me love gold.
Call Lear Capital now for your free video and exclusive report. See why the banks, investors, and the media are all bullish on gold and sounding the alarm to buy now.
Please don't wait to buy gold and silver. Be smart. Buy it today.
Get your free information and also ask how you can receive up to $2,000 in free gold. Call 1-800-885-2000. 1-800-885-2000.
All right, I brought in Ensure Max Protein to give you the protein you need with less of the sugar you don't. I'll take that.
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein in 2 great flavors.
Around here, nobody ever does it.
I didn't do it.
So when I heard they added Ultra Oxy to the cleaning power of Tide, it was just what we needed.
Dad, I didn't do it.
#1 stain and odor fighter. #1 trusted. It's got to be Tide.
The word education means to lead forth. But which way is forth? How do you know you're going in the right direction? At Hillsdale College, we understand education to be the pursuit of the highest answer to that question. Discovering the right way by reading the greatest books by the greatest minds in history. Coming to see the meaning of the good, the true, and the beautiful. This is the way forth. This is education.
I had no symptoms of hepatitis C.
Mine caused liver damage.
Epclusa treats all main types of chronic hep C. Whatever your type, ask your doctor if Epclusa is your kind of cure.
I had the common type.
Mine was rare.
Epclusa has a 98% overall cure rate.
I just found out about my hepatitis C.
I knew for years.
Epclusa is only 1 pill, once a day, taken with or without food for 12 weeks. Before starting Epclusa, your doctor will test if you have had hepatitis B, which may flare up and could cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you have had hepatitis B, other liver...
Ooh, I like that style.
Car shopping?
That obvious?
And the cars you like and compare deals. Every car is rated from great deals.
Cruise today to find great deals from top-rated dealers near you.
There are a lot of reasons so many people use the Home Advisor app to find home repair and improvement pros.
I found a great local landscaper while sitting by the pool.
I looked at the schedule of 3 housekeepers while I microwaved popcorn.
I read the reviews and booked a plumber without having to call around.
And with their cost guide, I can see what others paid for similar work in my area, and I know I'm getting a fair price.
Want one more reason? Home Advisor is totally free to use. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor. Fox News Channel on Sirius XM. Your favorite shows on Channel 114. Plus, every story, every 15 minutes. Fox News headlines 24/7, Channel 115.
He was known as the president's fixer, and now former Trump personal attorney Michael Cohen, recently convicted on many felony counts, talking to lawmakers behind closed doors a day ahead of his public testimony tomorrow. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is live on Capitol Hill with more. Catherine.
Well, thank you, Dana. We're about 4 or 5 hours into this session. They did take a break for lunch. They're in this room just over my shoulder, the double doors. That's the entrance to the SCIF, or secure facility. Michael Cohen was last here in October of 2017, and that's when he lied to Congress. He was prosecuted by the special counsel for those lies about a Trump-Moscow real estate project in 2016. Cohen testified that the discussions ended in January of 2016, but it was found that they continued until June of that year. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle want to understand why Cohen lied about the real estate project, because the underlying act itself, the business dealings, are not criminal. They want to know if he initiated that or whether he was directed to do so by someone else. Republicans, for the most part, feel that Cohen is not a credible witness because he's been convicted of lying as just one of the offenses that they're looking at. Democrats see something much larger at play.
We're at another inflection point where American justice is either going to be vindicated or desecrated, and Michael Cohen has answers to some of the questions that the American people need to know.
Michael Cohen arrived here on Capitol Hill earlier today. He took a somewhat circuitous route that allowed him, really for the most part, to be shielded from the media. The video you're seeing is just the short hallway that leads up to the secure facility. Earlier, he had traveled from a basement up through a freight elevator and then to the lawmakers. Really, the big event here on Capitol Hill is going to be tomorrow on the House Oversight Committee side. They're going to have a public hearing, and they are looking at issues, Dana, that arose out of the case in the Southern District of New York. So, for example, issues of compliance with campaign finance laws. That has to do with the hush money payments, which President Trump denies he authorized Cohen to make. Also, actual and potential business conflicts, and then finally, business practices of the Trump organization. Republicans on the House side say this is really an effort to damage the presidency.
I just think it's crazy that the first witness that the Democrats call to testify before Congress is a guy who's been convicted or pled guilty to lying to Congress. I mean, it's just crazy. This is about trying their best to discredit the President of the United States.
The other thing that's worth pointing out, Dana, is that all of the questioning about Russia is taking place behind closed doors on Capitol Hill, here today on the Senate side, and then also Thursday before the House Intelligence Committee. So tomorrow, the issues are essentially bifurcated from Russia. They will focus on issues related to the business and also the case in the Southern District of New York, Dana.
All right, Catherine, it's 3 days of this, so we'll be back in touch with her. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders saying that disgraced felon Michael Cohen is going to prison for lying to Congress and making other false statements. Sadly, he will go before Congress this week, and we can expect more of the same. For more on this, let's bring in Nicholas Johnston, an Axios editor. And it's great to have you on the show. Let me ask you, we know what the Democrats are trying to get out of this as they're having the hearing. They want to find out more answers, and also they might want to win on some politics. But does Michael Cohen expect to get anything out of this either?
I think what Michael Cohen is still out doing is sort of trying to tell his side of the story. Remember that big change of heart he had. He was someone who said he would take a bullet for the president, was intensely loyal to the president, and then said, you know what, he changed his mind. He wanted to protect his family. He wanted to look out for his children and his legacy. And now he says he wants to tell the truth. So this is somewhat, maybe a little bit of Michael Cohen trying to redeem or burnish his legacy. Also, the ongoing cooperation he does with federal authorities can certainly figure into sort of future prosecutions or sentencing. So this is certainly the beginning of perhaps some Michael Cohen forgiveness or apology tour here in public before friendly questioners from the Democrats trying to get to the bottom of the Trump campaign issues and the Trump business issues. But like I think as we reported earlier, sort of definitely this is someone who has pled guilty to lying to Congress, not going before Congress. And, you know, Republicans are going to hammer him exactly on that.
Does he run any risk if he lies again to Congress?
I think he runs an incredible risk to lie again. I think like every time he lies. If there's anyone who's coming before Congress who knows about the risks of lying to Congress, it's Michael Cohen, who's probably going to go to prison for lying to Congress. And I think he's being very clear about making sure he's truthful in all these kinds of things. I'm sure there are probably Republicans who will try and get him to trip him up on these kinds of questions, but he'll be facing very friendly questionings from Democrats who I think just definitely wanted to let him tell his story and all the salacious details that he has.
Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, he's always colorful in his commentary. Listen to what he had to say.
Yeah.
Nobody believes anything or can believe anything Mr. Cohen said. He's already lied to Congress once. Now, I know he says he's been born again and all of that, but I don't know how you separate fact from fiction with Mr. Cohen. And I don't expect to learn a lot.
On the other side of the aisle, there's Senator Hirono from Hawaii. Take a listen to her.
Well, I'd like to hear all about his relationship with Donald Trump and all of the connections I hope that Donald Trump had with Russia, including all his business endeavors and hotel interests, et cetera, because we know that Donald Trump during his campaign said, I have no interest in Russia, but that's yet another one of his total lies.
Do you think, Nicholas, that both sides think that they could actually stand to gain politically out of these 3 days of testimony?
Oh, I think absolutely. Republicans certainly will probably start every single of their questions with the fact that Michael Cohen has pled guilty to lying to Congress, and Democrats, I think, will come exactly back looking for Michael Cohen to tell the best stories he possibly can about Trump's behavior. The one question that is open is something that sources familiar with Cohen's testimony are saying, that maybe this time Cohen brings the good in documents. We know he's a convicted liar, but if he brings proof of these kinds of allegations, that could be much very sort of must-see television on the Hill tomorrow.
I don't have a lot of time with you, but you reported in Axios that in Iowa, all these Democratic candidates that are going there, they're not talking about Trump. They're not even talking about Mueller. They're certainly not talking about Michael Cohen. So do they run a risk as well?
There is that truth. Like when you get down to the on-the-ground retail politics in 2020, a lot of people aren't as focused as us in Washington on the minute-by-minute kind of drip, drip, drip of the Mueller campaign. When we get out into the field, folks traveling around Iowa, what they come back and tell us is that voters are asking about health care, they're asking about immigration, they're asking about climate change, they're asking about taxes. And so I think it's that was a good sort of bit of perspective we had this morning on saying keeping all these kinds of things in the right kind of mode, because like everyone is not talking about Mueller. There's real policy
I know that Axios talks about smart brevity, and we appreciate your smart brevity and your quick talker, which I like. Nicholas Johnston, thank you.
Thank you.
Venezuela's disputed president, Nicolas Maduro, has a message for the United States as he blocks our food and medicine and his own people desperately need it. Plus, a big showdown between lawmakers and Big Pharma on Capitol Hill over the cost of the prescription drugs that you have to buy.
I think that you charge more here because you can. And American taxpayers are subsidizing all of you to be able to have incredibly high profits.
This program is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
It's absolute confidence in 30,000 precision parts, or it isn't. It's inspected by Mercedes-Benz factory-trained technicians, or it isn't. It's backed by an unlimited mileage warranty, or it isn't. For those who never settle, it's either Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned, or it isn't. The Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales event now through February 28th. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer.
Hi, I'm William Devane. You know, investing in gold is not about making $1 million. Gold is about protecting what you have for you and your family. And now you can, by taking an existing IRA and rolling it over to a Rosalind Capital precious metal-backed IRA. Like me, you've worked hard for your money, and you don't want to lose it now. So protect it against financial craziness by getting a Rosalind Capital precious metal-backed IRA. Just pick up the phone and call the folks at Rosalind. Now you can have an IRA backed by gold and silver that'll make you feel a heck of a lot safer. The IRA rollover is just another way Rosalind is helping you protect your assets.
Call now for your free gold kit, free silver kit, and free IRA kit. And for a limited time only, pay 0 IRA account fees in the first year. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900.
Introducing new Fresh Start from Nutrisystem. Lose up to 13 pounds in your first month, guaranteed.
Lose your first 13 pounds fast with new Fresh Start from Nutrisystem.
Your 13 can turn into 20, 30, 50, even more. I'm Marie and I lost 50 pounds with Nutrisystem. You'll see results right away. Count, measure, meetings? No, not with Nutrisystem.
Order your 28-day program right now and save 40%. We'll rush you Fresh Start. Get specially designed meals, plus a week of all new Fresh Start shakes free. High protein, designed to burn fat, with probiotics to shrink your belly.
Bye-bye, belly fat.
Plus FedEx shipping free. With Fresh Start, lose up to 13 pounds fast. Lose weight fast. Money back guaranteed. Millions of people have lost weight on Nutrisystem, and you can too.
Your first 13 pounds? Gone.
Go online or call 855-936-EASY and save 40% plus get probiotic shakes free.
Don't have vision coverage through work? Look forward to clarity when it matters most.
Thank you, VSP.
VSP Individual Vision Plans offers coverage you can buy on your own with the lowest out-of-pocket costs on eye exams and eyewear.
There's another one. That's a beautiful one.
So you won't miss any of life's little moments. Go to VSPDirect.com to see better. For life, for less. Looking for a family-size solution to vision care?
Lunches?
Yes.
Check. Homework?
Got it. Your glasses.
Oh, thank you, VSP.
Take a second look.
Your shoes?
With clarity when it matters most. VSP Individual Vision Plans offers coverage you can buy on your own. So your family's Monday mornings are more manageable. Go to VSPDirect.com to see better. For life, for less.
Major drug makers are getting grilled today on Capitol Hill as a Senate panel presses company executives on rising drug prices. Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn, she's following the hearing and has more for us now. Hillary.
Hey, Dana. Well, drug company executives say they agree that prices are too high, but they say the system is broken and Congress is the one that actually needs to fix it. Executives from Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, and other companies grilled by lawmakers on the Senate Finance Committee over how much they charge for their products. Senators today wanted to know one big thing: why Americans are paying more than the rest of the world for the same thing.
I'm going to have town meetings in a few days at home. And people will say, Ron, this is ridiculous that we are getting gouged when people around the world are getting a better deal.
It is almost as if the taxpayer has stupid written on their face.
Breakthroughs aren't breakthroughs if people can't afford the medicine.
Several of the executives defend their high prices here at home, saying they need the cash from profits to fund research and development and invent breakthrough medications. But senators push back, saying the companies benefit from tax breaks, billions of dollars in grants and other subsidies to develop new drugs funded by U.S. taxpayers who then can't afford the drugs they help subsidize. Only one executive today, Dana, said that they've used tax breaks to actually lower costs for consumers. Dana?
Well, what's interesting about your report is that you see there's bipartisan attacks on pharma. Are the executives saying anything else to defend themselves?
Yeah, well, they say they aren't the root of the problem, that rebates are. Part of what happens when companies are negotiating to get their drugs into pharmacies. Executives say that rebates that pharmacy benefit managers receive need to go because they're actually what are pushing the prices higher.
The people who can least afford it are paying the most. And the sickest people are paying. I do not. I can tell you that is, to me, the biggest problem that we have as a country is we now have a system where the poorest and the sickest are subsidizing others. You bring a product to the market with a low list price in this system, you get punished financially and you get no uptake because everyone in the supply chain makes money as a result of a higher list price.
Dana, Senator Wyden is giving all 7 companies 10 days to respond in writing that if they get rid of these rebates, they will actually then lower costs of these drugs for consumers. Dana?
It's a fascinating topic. People really wanted to hear about it, so we thank you for putting that report together, Hillary. Next, Joe Biden keeps everyone guessing about his decision on 2020. Could we be getting a new hint today? We're live in Delaware. Who went to Syria back into the country after she joined ISIS. He wants her to face the U.S. justice system, and we're going to talk to his Republican challenger straight ahead.
Here's what I can tell you. We have a strong legal basis for our claim that she's not the citizen and she's not coming back.
If you're a veteran homeowner and need money for your family, call New Day USA. A New Day VA home loan lets you refinance your home and take out $54,000 or more to pay credit card debt or just put money in the bank. It even lowers your payments by over $600 a month. As a veteran, you've earned the powerful VA home loan benefit that lets you refinance up to 100% of your home's value. And with home values rising, that can mean a lot more money for you and your family. And because New Day USA has been granted automatic authority by the VA, they can say yes when banks say no. And they'll do all the VA paperwork for you. We all know some of life's most important financial decisions are made right here at the kitchen table. So if you're a veteran and need cash, calling New Day USA could be one of the best decisions you'll ever make.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-855-NEW-DAY-USA.
Pat Boone here. See this bag? It's Relief Factor, 100% drug-free, created by doctors with 4 key ingredients that help your own body deal with its natural inflammatory response. Now that's a fancy way of saying it just might help you lower or even eliminate those occasional aches and pains that come just because we're getting older or too active.
I'm an artist, and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day, and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck, and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, and I've got much better range of motion. I'm able to carry these big canvases around, put stuff away, and pick stuff up and move it around. So I'm just very, very grateful that I gave the product a try.
The 3-week quick start is priced at only $19.95 because the company wants to make it super easy to see if Relief Factor can help you too at relieffactor.com.
Let's take a look at some numbers. 4 out of 5 people who have a stroke, their first symptom is a stroke. 80% of all strokes and heart disease, preventable. And $149 is all it takes to get screened and help take control of your health. We're Lifeline Screening, and if you're over 50, call this number to schedule an appointment for 5 painless screenings that go beyond regular checkups. We use ultrasound technology to literally look inside your arteries for plaque, which builds up as you age and increases your risk for stroke and cardiovascular disease. And by getting them through this package, you're saving over 50%. So call today and consider these numbers. For just $149, you'll receive 5 screenings that could reveal what your body isn't telling you.
And I'm going to tell you that's the best $150 I've ever spent in my life.
Lifeline Screening, the power of prevention. Call now to learn more.
The world's newest ocean cruise line is yet again a world's best. Viking's elegant ships deliver a superb, inclusive experience with enriching shore excursions, alternative dining, all veranda staterooms, Wi-Fi, and much more. We're very proud to have been named a world's best 3 years in a row by Travel and Leisure readers. Learn more at vikingcruises.com.
Liberty Mutual Accident Forgiveness means they won't hike your rates over one mistake. See? Liberty Mutual doesn't hold grudges.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise their rates because of their first accident. Switch and you could save $782 on home and auto insurance. Call 1-844-564-6535 for a free quote today. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The House is getting ready to vote on a resolution to overturn President Trump's national emergency declaration to secure the southern border. Joining me now is Republican Congressman Bradley Byrne. He's representing the 1st District of Alabama. Sir, I wanted to start with this. I feel like the Republicans are quite united in their belief that there's a problem at the border, there needs to be border security, But there is this concern that Congress has ceded so much of its authority to the executive branch, and you have some people like Justin Amash, one of your colleagues, tweeting this about the resolution, that the same congressional Republicans who join me in blasting President Obama's executive overreach now cry out for a king to usurp legislative powers. If your faithfulness to the Constitution depends on which party controls the White House, then you are not faithful to it. How do you respond to somebody who thinks that maybe Republicans aren't being principled on this?
Well, I think we are being principled. Look, the president has a very important responsibility, and that is to protect the people of the United States, to provide for our security. That includes border security. Now, he wanted to do it the other way. He wanted to do it through appropriations for the Department of Homeland Security, and the Democrats blocked him. He's doing the only thing that's left to him, and that is using the executive power he has to declare an emergency. It's clearly there in the statute. And then using money that he can legally get to and take that money and build a wall. That's what people want the president to do, is to build this wall.
But you don't see any problem in terms on the constitutional front that he didn't get the money from Congress, and then he says, okay, well, then I'll go around. I mean, I understand national emergencies, they've been used before, but in this particular sense, do you think that the legal ground will remain solid?
Yes, I do, because remember, this isn't money that's just taken willy-nilly from anywhere in the defense budget. There are particular places where you can get it from. Now, some of this money is not coming out of the defense budget at all. It's coming from other places, and he doesn't need a declaration of emergency to do it. I think this president is well within his legal and constitutional powers to do exactly what he's planning on doing.
All right, let's take another topic, and that's, of course, it's getting a lot of attention, this Green New Deal. And the Congressional Budget Office came out with an eye-popping number saying that it could cost between $53 and $93 trillion, which is a number that sounds so fantastical that Austin Powers would have come up with it. Do you think that this is actually getting a lot of traction, that people see this as something that has to be rejected?
Well, it's getting a lot of traction on the Democratic side. Look at the people that are running for president in their party. They're actually embracing this. I have talked to some Democrats on the floor of the House who are scared of it because they know the American people are going to look at that and say, not only is this fantasy, but it's a dangerous fantasy. I don't think it's going anywhere, but I think it's going to drive the Democrats that are running for president, and it's going to drive the debate in America next year, which is good for Republicans. I welcome that debate.
Well, you're going to have more of that debate. You've announced that you're going to run for the United States Senate against the incumbent senator, Doug Jones, who won in that special election last year. I wanted to get your take on what he said about the Alabama woman who left, went to ISIS, got married, and now she wants to come back. Her citizenship is in dispute. This is what Doug Jones said, that while I certainly understand the initial reaction to prohibit Hoda Muthana from coming back to the United States, I am concerned that allowing anyone who has committed crimes against the people of this country to remain beyond the reach of our justice system is the wrong approach and sends the wrong message. How do you feel about this? I mean, obviously you're from a different state, but what do you think?
Well, look, this is one of many ways that Doug Jones differs from the people, the vast majority of the people in the state of Alabama. We believe that she renounced her citizenship by her actions. When you take up arms, essentially is what she did with enemies of the United States, your actions renounce your citizenship. She's not a citizen, and I can't believe that Senator Jones would suggest otherwise and say we should give her all these due process rights that citizens get in this country. She does not deserve them. She made the choice that she made. She's living in a terrible camp right now. I'm sorry for her and her child, but that's the decision she made, and she needs to live with the consequences.
Could I just ask you a last question? Because in your congressional district office, the 1st District of Alabama, did you get a lot of calls from constituents about this case when Hoda Muthana's story first broke last week?
Oh, yeah. We're getting an avalanche of phone calls and emails. People are dead set against the position that Senator Jones has taken, and they support me in the position I've taken, which is we should not let her into the country.
All right. Congressman Bradley Byrne of Alabama, thanks for joining.
Good to be with you.
Fox News alert, Mark Harris, the Republican candidate in the disputed North Carolina District 9 congressional race. He just announced that he will not run for re-election. He is citing health problems and the need to regain full strength. Harris was the unofficial winner against Democrat Dan McCready. The North Carolina State Board of Elections just last week ordered a special election after several days of hearings on alleged election fraud, so he will not be running. Early primary polls show Joe Biden is a Democratic frontrunner for 2020, even though he's not in the race yet. Today, the former vice president is giving a speech in his home state as he considers a bid for the White House. Peter Ducey is live in Newark, Delaware, and he's got the goods. Peter.
Dana, Joe Biden run would remind Democratic primary voters about the Obama era when Obamacare became the law of the land. But for some others in the top tier of the Democratic presidential primary right now, Obamacare is old news.
Health care is a right and should not be a privilege of only those who can afford to pay for it, which is why I support Medicare for all.
Lately, Biden has been focusing more on foreign policy and specifically trying to restore relationships with NATO allies that he thinks were better before President Trump started asking everybody to start paying more dues.
It's not a protection racket. No, but it really isn't. We talk about it that way. We've made a sacred commitment in Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all. That's what's maintained the peace and security in Europe. And now there's a question going on, whether or not we mean it. Whether we mean it.
If he does run, the former VP has also physically challenged President Trump, and that is something nobody else in the field has done.
They asked me, would I like to debate this gentleman? And I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
At the time, that caught the commander-in-chief's attention, but he didn't seem to feel too threatened.
That wouldn't last long. He's down, and he'll never get up. He'll never get up.
The former vice president is going to have a conversation here at the University of Delaware with the historian John Meacham. It starts in about 25 minutes, and we will be listening for any hints about whether or not he might be leaning towards getting in
closer
or
and closer.
staying out.
All right, Peter Doocy, thank you. The UN Security Council is about to meet as disputed Venezuelan President Maduro accuses our government of trying to fabricate an international crisis to start a war in South America. Rich Edson is live at the State Department. Rich, tell me more about what Maduro's fantasy is playing out in his mind.
Good afternoon, Dana. And the UN Security Council, as you know, as it is on a number of issues, is divided when it comes to Venezuela. You've got the United States, its Latin American allies want to push Maduro from power, try to help get him out of control there. And then, of course, you've got China and Russia who support the Maduro regime. So in just a little bit, about a half hour from now, you've got the UN Security Council. The State Department says the administration's Venezuela envoy, veteran diplomat Elliot Abrams, will represent the U.S. at this upcoming session. This week, the administration has announced sanctions on more Maduro regime officials and is urging regional leaders to freeze the assets of Venezuela's state oil company. Despite the growing pressure, Maduro refuses to yield power to opposition leader and interim President Juan Guaido, though there are also reports that hundreds of Venezuelan police officers and soldiers have defected, though it appears as though the military leadership in that country, much of it, still supports Maduro. Dana?
Ed, Rich, could you tell me more about yesterday? The Maduro regime detained American journalists?
That's right. That's Jorge Ramos from Univision. He says he was detained after an interview with Nicolas Maduro, where he showed Maduro video that they had shot of children in Venezuela eating from garbage cans.
My job is to ask questions, and he stole our jobs. And he thinks that he can censor international press the same way he censors people in Venezuela, but he cannot do that. We won't be silent. This is an abuse. This goes against our right to ask questions.
Maduro is blocking aid from entering his country and says there's really no humanitarian crisis there. However, the United Nations says more than 3 million people have left Venezuela since 2014 because of food and medicine shortages there, Dana.
All right, Rich, thank you. New legal trouble brewing for Elon Musk, why the Tesla CEO could find himself in hot water. Plus, President Trump in Vietnam to meet with Kim Jong-un. What are the chances of getting North Korea's dictator to curb his nuclear weapons program? We'll discuss.
Hey, who are you?
Oh, hey, Jeff, I'm a car thief.
What?
I'm here to steal your car because, well, that's my job.
What?
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 It happens. And you got cut rate car insurance? Paying for this could feel like getting robbed twice. So get Allstate. I'd be better protected from mayhem.
like me.
Imagine being able to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. Sandals, more quality inclusions than any other resorts. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Every baby can have the freedom to move their way in Pampers Cruisers with 3-way fit. They adapt at the waist, legs, and bottom for all the freedom to move their way. Pampers.
I yo-yo dieted for years. I counted the points, I followed the rules, and it didn't help me long term.
I was just so tired of losing the weight and gaining it all back.
But I found something new. It's called Noom.
It's not a diet. It's a totally different, personalized program
That uses psychology and small goals to change your habits so that you can lose the weight.
and keep it off for good.
It's super easy to get started, so what do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com today and lose the weight for good.
There are a lot of reasons so many people have used the Home Advisor app to find home repair and improvement pros.
I found a great local landscaper while sitting by the pool.
I looked at the schedule of 3 housekeepers while I microwaved popcorn.
I read the reviews and booked a plumber without having to call around.
And with their cost guide, I can see what others paid for similar work in my area, and I know I'm getting a fair price.
Want one more reason? Home Advisor is totally free to use. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor. A special Hannity from Vietnam. Before President Trump meets with North Korea's leader, Sean has must-see insight from an all-star lineup on a special Hannity tonight.
Hi, I'm Dana Lash from The Dana Show, and I want to tell you about a really simple thing you can do that helps promote more energy and supports healthy blood pressure levels. This is Super Beets, and I swear by it. It gives me more healthy energy to keep up with my hectic schedule, and you're going to love what it does for you, too.
I could definitely use a little more energy, especially if it's from a natural source like beets.
If I had something natural and healthy that gave me energy, I'd be all in.
Beets contain an essential nutrient that makes them one of the most heart-healthy vegetables in nature. Super Beets concentrates that nutrient into superfood crystals. Super Beets contains real food that helps increase circulation to get more oxygen flowing throughout your body naturally. It supports healthy blood pressure and gives you more healthy energy to make the most of your day.
Find out how to get a free canister with your first order, plus bonus gifts. Call 1-866-235-6901 or go to trysuperbeets.com.
I just mix a teaspoon into a few ounces of water. There's the natural apple flavor or black cherry flavor. It tastes great.
It's really yummy.
It's good flavor. I'm surprised.
It doesn't taste like beets at all.
I'll finish this, by the way.
What if you had more energy? Imagine the possibilities.
You feel strong and you feel healthy and you feel like you can accomplish anything.
If I'm doing the things that I need to do to give me the energy, I feel better, not only physically, but mentally.
So do something good for your heart, your circulation, your blood pressure, and your energy. You'll love Super Beets or your money back.
Call now and find out how to get a free canister with your first order, plus free indicator strips that show how it's working. And shipping is free too.
This Super Beets offer isn't available in stores, so call or go online right now.
Super Beets from Human. Order your Super Beets today. Call 1-866-235-6901 or visit trysuperbeets.com.
I'm Trace Gallagher in for Shepard Smith. We're waiting for results of a House vote on whether to overturn President Trump's national emergency declaration about the border. We'll keep an eye on Capitol Hill for that. Also, almost 200 Amtrak passengers who were stuck on a train for nearly 2 days, arriving at a station just moments ago. That's coming up on Shepard Smith reporting.
Back now, federal regulators want Tesla CEO Elon Musk held in contempt of court. They say he sent a tweet that violates a settlement restricting his public statements that could affect Tesla stock's performance. Musk tweeted Tesla made 0 cars in 2011, but will make around 500,000 in 2019. He later corrected himself, but despite that, regulators say Musk sent bad information to his 24 million followers. A federal judge giving Musk 2 weeks to explain himself or be held in contempt. President Trump to soon hold his second high-stakes summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Vietnam. The big question, whether Kim's regime will agree to give up its nuclear weapons. The Wall Street Journal writing in an editorial, quote, Mr. Trump is playing up the economic possibilities if the North chooses nuclear disarmament, and he's made clear that the Kim dynasty can continue to rule. U.S. intelligence has concluded that North Korea will never give up its nuclear weapons. Much depends, therefore, on whether Mr. Kim really does want a better future for his country. Joining me now is Dennis Wilder, the former Senior Director for East Asian Affairs at the National Security Council, the best one I could get today to talk about North Korea. First of all, Dennis, what has changed between the Pyongyang, the first summit in Singapore, and the one that they're having tomorrow?
Well, one of the biggest changes, Dana, is the fact that we have Steve Biegun on board, who you and I both know from the Bush administration. And he's been working really hard with very tough North Korean diplomats to try to come up with a good outcome for this summit. I think that the realistic expectations of this summit, and I think they're good expectations, is that they'll get some sort of agreement for the North Koreans to stop building missiles. In other words, stop building the fissile material for nuclear missiles and stop building missiles themselves. And in return, we may lighten up on some of the economic sanctions, maybe not directly, but maybe with the South Koreans. I also think the other important thing is that there may be a declaration of an end to the war. And that's a very important confidence-building measure. I support the idea. It isn't a peace treaty. We're a long way from a peace treaty. But it is a way to signal to the North that if you begin to do the right things here, there will be economic benefits to you and your people.
Do you think that Kim Jong-un will be persuaded by the economic promise? And if he goes to Vietnam and sees it, is he the kind of person that might look around and say, would I want this for my people?
You know, 1 of every 2 North Korean children is either malnourished or stunted growth. The economy of North Korea is about the size of Botswana's economy. The average North Korean makes less than $2,000 a year, whereas the average South Korean makes over $30,000 a year. So we are talking about a country that is living on the edge, and he knows it. He wants to survive as a leader. He wants his people to want him in power. And the only way he's going to get there, it's not going to be by building more missiles. It's going to be by giving them some of the economic benefits that other people around the world are experiencing.
So you mentioned Steve Biegun, the envoy, and there have been, anonymous complaints about him, worries that he's going to give away too much and things like that. Are those unfounded?
I really think they are. I know Steve Biegun well. He's a very level-headed negotiator. I think there are some people who think that we are going to get a unilateral surrender from the North Koreans, that somehow that they're going to be willing to say, okay, we're going to give up everything today. We've had 70 years of distrust and suspicion between ourselves and the North Koreans. This is going to take time. It's not an easy process. The North Koreans aren't going to declare immediately everything they have because they don't trust us, and we don't trust them. And so I think that giving Steve Biegun time to build relationship with the North Korean negotiators, giving the North Koreans some small steps, and then working toward the bigger goals is the only way. It's a step-by-step process. It's now a top-down process, but it's still a step-by-step process. And I think Americans tend to be impatient in negotiations and diplomacy. And my experience dealing with the North Koreans is it's a very tough game, and you just have to keep at it.
It's not like ordering Seamless, where you figure out what you want, press a button, and it shows up 10 minutes later.
Absolutely
I guess what I'm
not.
taking away from you is it keeps some perspective. You're optimistic about this meeting, and as it goes forward, we will check back in with you. Dennis Wilder, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So teachers in a major U.S. city back on the picket lines for the 4th day. We have the latest on the negotiations to get them back to work. Plus, a change Walmart's greeter.
Okay, Max.
And people think I'm nuts. Always there in crunch time.
Go get him, Nutman! Caleb.
Is everything okay?
I don't like hospitals.
This isn't just a hospital. This is a special place. Come with me. This is the place
where I can play games with my grandparents. This is the place where I make the shots.
This is the place where kids
learn how to walk downstairs. I get it. This is where kids get to be kids.
Yes. This is Shriners Hospitals for Children.
And this special place is only possible because of the monthly support of people just like you.
When you give at loveshriners.org, you'll be joining thousands of other caring people who give just $19 a month to change these kids' lives.
Because of Shriners Hospitals for Children, I can do things I never thought were possible, like riding my bike.
Cookie! Breaking board. Ha!
When you give 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of the love you gave to a kid just like me.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Merci. Thank you very much.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, call again or go to loveshriners.org to give.
With Vroom, you can get carefully inspected late model cars delivered straight to your driveway. Whoa. Get me to work cars. Get me out of town cars. Ooh, get me noticed cars. No back and forth to the dealer. Just you, your phone, and tons of cars. Just go to vroom.com, pick your favorite, and tell them where to bring it.
New Day USA helps veteran homeowners get cash by using the powerful VA home loan benefit we've earned with our service. The New Day VA cash out loan can help you get over $50,000 to pay off the credit card debt, put cash in the bank, and reduce your payments by over $500 a month. And since New Day has been granted automatic authority by the VA, they can say yes when banks say no. Get the financial security you've earned and deserve.
Go to NewDayUSA.com or call 1-855-NEW-DAY-USA.
Don't miss CPAC 2019 on Fox Nation. Stream the biggest speeches, see your favorite Fox Nation personalities deliver their must-see addresses, and watch a reality check CPAC special with David Webb. It all starts Thursday on Fox Nation. Start your free trial now.
And now a look at some other stories. It's our Daily 3. First up, Fiat Chrysler announcing plans to build a $4.5 billion Jeep assembly plant in Detroit, expected to create 6,500 jobs. Next, after Amazon's New York City deal collapsed, community groups and politicians in Virginia now pushing back against the online giant's plans to build a headquarters in Arlington. The groups claiming the plans will hurt the community by raising housing prices too high. And finally, teachers in Oakland, California, they're back on the picket line as the school district and the union resume negotiations over wages. So Walmart is replacing some of its trademark front door greeters, and the move, it's not without controversy. David Lee Miller is here with the story to catch us up. David Lee.
Dana, attention, Walmart shoppers. Changes at the country's biggest retailer are underway, and some workers with disabilities fear they will lose their jobs. The company is phasing in a plan that began 3 years ago to replace the iconic Walmart greeters with customer hosts at about 1,000 stores. The company says affected workers will have 60 days to transition into other jobs at the chain. Those who become customer hosts will earn more money, but they will also have added responsibilities. Some workers have reportedly been told they will have to be able to lift up to 25 pounds. For people with disabilities, these new tasks could be a problem. In a number of highly publicized incidents, greeters with a disability have been told they were going to lose their jobs.
I was hurt. I was devastated. I was angry. I'm scared.
Walmart, facing a possible public relations fiasco, appears to be backing down. In a statement issued today, the company says special consideration is being given to greeters with disabilities. It reads in part, quote, "We recognize that our associates with physical disabilities face a unique situation. With that in mind, we will be extending the current 60-day greeter transition period for associates with disabilities while we explore the circumstances and the potential accommodations for each individual that can be made with each store." Walmart says greeters with a disability will stay on the job while the company seeks what it calls a customized solution for all those involved. And Dana, you might recall Sam Walton said it very well. He said there's really only one boss, the customer.
That's right. And so do you think that Walmart is changing just because of public pressure?
I don't know for certain, but I think this statement is the result of all the publicity that a handful of these cases made, and they're now reconsidering their position on people with disabilities.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing us the story. We appreciate it. David Lee Miller. So a heartwarming story out of Florida. A young boy missing most of his right arm got a batting lesson during a visit to St. Louis Cardinals spring training camp. And the good news is, watch this, it paid off. That's right, Tommy Morrissey hitting a home run less than a week after his lesson, and it turns out he's also a golfing prodigy and a well-known inspiration for the Unlimited Foundation, helping to save children's limbs through advanced medical technology. So we congratulate him indeed, and thanks to the Cardinals, of course that's Chris Starwalt's favorite team, for having those kids there and teaching him all of that. All right, much more to come on Fox News. You're going to have Shep Smith up next. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Dana Perino. Oh, but actually, you know what? It's Trace Gallagher. So you get Trace today. I'll see you at 5 on the 5.
Getting ready for round 2, President Trump and Kim Jong-un in Vietnam for their second summit, but there's word of concern inside the Trump administration about sealing a nuclear deal. We're live in Hanoi. And President Trump's former fixer on Capitol Hill, Michael Cohen, reportedly plans to accuse his former boss of breaking the law while in office and reveal some of the president's private financial information. The news begins now. I'm Trace Gallagher in for Shepard Smith. President Trump's former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen kicking off 3 days of testimony on Capitol Hill. The head of the committee hearing from him today says nothing is off limits and Cohen should expect to get questions from anywhere about anything. Today's hearing is a closed-door session with the Senate Intelligence Committee. Tomorrow, we'll get to see Cohen testify publicly before the House Oversight Committee, and on Thursday, he'll go back behind closed doors to take questions from the House Intelligence Committee. At tomorrow's public session, there is word Cohen will provide evidence the president broke the law while in office. That's according to our corporate cousin, the Wall Street Journal. It reports the crime is related to a hush money payment to a woman who claims she had sex with the president. The president denies the affair and blames Cohen for any problems with the payment. And Cohen has admitted lying to congressional committees in the past.
Lied before. Why should Congress trust you now, Mr. Cohen?
The White House raised similar concerns ahead of the hearings. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said it's laughable that anyone would take a convicted liar like Cohen at his word, and pathetic to see him given yet another opportunity to spread his lies. Michael Cohen is set to spend 3 years behind bars starting this spring after he pleaded guilty to campaign finance violations, tax evasion, and lying to Congress. He said he committed those crimes out of blind loyalty to President Trump. The chief intelligence correspondent, Catherine Herridge, reporting live on Capitol Hill. Catherine.
Well, thanks, Trace. In the last few minutes, we've had a fair amount of activity. If I'm just stepping aside for a minute, you can see a crowd is gathered over by the second floor of the Hart Senate office building. That's where the SCIF or secure facility is, where Michael Cohen has been answering questions now going on for at least 5 hours. We saw Senator Angus King. He left. He looked down, did not take any questions from reporters about the substance of the interview. Cohen arrived here on Capitol Hill early this morning. He took a back route, which effectively allowed him to be shielded from reporters. We only had a very short walk to capture video as he went into the secure facility. Republicans and Democrats wanted to hear directly from Cohen today about why he lied to the same committee in the fall of 2017 about this Trump Tower Moscow real estate project that was being discussed during the presidential campaign. Cohen testified in 2017 that the discussions ended in January of 2016, but the special counsel found otherwise, that the discussions continued until June. And for that reason, Cohen was prosecuted for lying on behalf of the special counsel. What we hear from lawmakers is what consistently we've heard from the White House. Republicans question whether Cohen is really a credible witness, while Democrats are very focused on the money trail.
We've been having these hearings and interviews for 2 years now, and I think between us and the Mueller investigation that we're going to find out just about everything there is to find out about these allegations, and so far there's not much, if anything, to show for it.
But what I intend to keep focused on is untangling the very complicated financial arrangements between Donald Trump and Russia.
The Republican chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr, told Fox late last night that he says they're really in the end game now, and Cohen is one of a handful of witnesses they wanted to secure before they conclude their report trace.
And Catherine, what are we expecting out of tomorrow's public hearing?
Well, there are really a couple of big things to watch for. First of all, it's going to be a public session. Today is behind closed doors, so folks at home can really assess Cohen's credibility and his statements for themselves. Second, the House Oversight Committee hearing is focusing largely on events that grew out of the prosecution in the Southern District of New York. And to just break it down into some bullet points, they're looking at issues that relate to compliance with campaign finance laws. That's a reference to the hush money payments, also potential and actual business conflicts of interest, and then also the business dealings that Cohen had with the Trump Organization. So tomorrow, very focused on issues related to finance and the Trump Organization, not issues related to alleged Russia collusion. That's been today, and we also expect more of that again in a closed session on Thursday with the House Intelligence Committee trace.
Catherine Herridge live for us on Capitol Hill. Catherine, thank you. Well, President Trump arriving in Hanoi, Vietnam today as he gets ready for his second summit with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. On the negotiating table, one of the biggest security threats in the world, North Korea's nuclear arsenal. President Trump and Kim met for the first time in Singapore last June. It was the first summit between a sitting U.S. president and a North Korean leader. Critics point out the leaders didn't spell out how Pyongyang will denuclearize, but the president has said he's not in a rush since the North has stopped testing weapons. Our chief White House correspondent, John Roberts, reporting live in Hanoi, Vietnam. John.
Trace, good afternoon to you. Good morning here from Hanoi, where it's just after 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's the big question in the next 2 days is Kim Jong-un willing to give up his nuclear program? And is there something that President Trump can do between tomorrow and the day after to convince him to do it? You mentioned the summit last June in Singapore, their very first meeting, the first meeting between a U.S. president and a North Korean leader. At that summit, Kim Jong-un pledged unequivocally that he was going to denuclearize. But other than shutting down a couple of facilities that he didn't need anyways, he hasn't taken any concrete steps toward denuclearization, which has both Republicans and Democrats alike now saying that President Trump needs to do something at this summit here in Hanoi to push Kim Jong-un along that path. Listen here.
We need a clear, concrete roadmap to complete, verifiable, irreversible denuclearization. What the United States must do is continuing to apply our pressure, every bit of maximum pressure we can, and make sure that North Korea doesn't do what they have done for decades, and that is give a little, get a lot.
For all of the rhetoric and the puffery from the president, there have been no specific steps by the North Koreans yet to denuclearize. So unless something fairly dramatic changes in the North Koreans' strategy, there'll be very little from this summit that is measurable in terms of progress.
President Trump is again going to try to convince Kim that giving up his nuclear weapons, or through giving up his nuclear weapons, he will be able to reap the economic benefits of joining the global economy. Last year in Singapore, the president showed Kim a 4-minute movie trailer that was put together by the CIA based on Kim's psychological profile to try to convince him that giving up his nuclear weapons would reap him some economic benefits. But it appears Kim has not yet made the choice whether or not that is his future, or his future continues to be to pursue nuclear weapons. Listen to Michael Anton here.
This question of dangling carrots about economic development in front of them, it really boils down to whether Kim has had a change of heart, whether he thinks that economic development, money, capitalism, prosperity is a better guarantor of regime survival than a nuclear program.
You mentioned at the top of this, Trace, that the president says he is in no rush to push Kim toward denuclearization, but there is a chance now that if after the second summit Kim does not start to take moves toward getting rid of his nuclear program, that the U.S. risks falling back into that old pattern of a North Korean leader promising something only to renege on it. But President Trump has made it very clear he has no intention to take sanctions off of North Korea until Kim does something concrete, so perhaps that will help push him a little further down the road. Trace?
John, what is this about the White House press corps being relocated to a different hotel in Hanoi?
You know, I've covered the White House off and on for about 10 years. I've been to dozens of countries around the world, and I have never seen anything like this happen. Right after we heard that the summit was going to be in Hanoi, we worked together with the White House to set up what's called the White House Press Filing Center. It was at the Malia Hotel. It was in a big ballroom. It took weeks to bring the equipment over here, get it all set up. Well, when Kim Jong-un, who is staying at the same hotel as the White House press corps, caught wind that there was a big broadcasting facility there with all sorts of journalists who'd be there every day and plenty of live positions to broadcast television, both cable and broadcast. He complained to the Vietnamese authorities, who told the White House that they had to move that filing center. So we are now at the International Media Center, which is about 10 minutes down the road. But again, it's the very first time I have ever seen a foreign leader complain about the presence of the White House press corps there. In Buenos Aires, for example, Emmanuel Macron, the French president, was staying at our hotel. There didn't seem to be any issues there. But we all know what Kim Jong-un thinks about the press, and didn't want us in the same hotel as he is. So we are now, Trace, about 10 minutes down the road at the International Media Center, which is a nice facility, but just the principle of the whole thing is something I've never seen before.
Yeah, not often you get bumped by a foreign dictator. John Roberts live for us in Hanoi. John, thank you. Well, Gordon Chang is here. He's the author of Nuclear Showdown: North Korea Takes on the World. And Gordon, you say you're concerned because for 9 months, 9+ months, the U.S. really hasn't vigorously enforced these sanctions against North Korea.
Yes, I mean, if you go back to the middle of May, the U.S. decided not to sanction almost 36 Russian, Chinese, and other entities. Since that time, we've seen the Russians, the Chinese, even the South Koreans openly violate both U.S. and UN rules. And so, you know, right now we're at a point where the North Koreans are laughing at us. You know, Kim Jong-un is flaunting this. He's got a new Maybach. Obviously, that's a violation of UN sanctions for anyone to sell a luxury vehicle to the North Korean leader. But, you know, the North Koreans are very happy to show it to us. And what they're saying to the U.S. is, you know, we're going to do whatever we want. We don't care about you.
And I know you say that, look, the results are critical and there has to be something hard and fast here, but a lot of critics are saying, isn't the process just as important, Gordon? I mean, don't you have to put one foot in front of the other to get across the street? We have to at least start to go down this path, correct?
Well, no, not correct. And the reason is we've tried this before. For instance, the six-party talks, which started in August 2003, dragged on for more than half a decade, this step-by-step process. It really doesn't work. You think it should work, but it doesn't. What we really have to do is just vigorously apply those sanctions so the North Koreans realize they have no choice. They either keep their weapons or Kim Jong-un keeps power, but not both. This is the job of the President of the United States, to change the incentives on Kim Jong-un. It's in President Trump's job description.
And President Trump says he trusts Kim. So give me an idea of what it would take in this summit, the the sequel, what it would take for you, Gordon, to be satisfied. What concessions would Kim Jong-un have to give? A little bit of something you'd say, okay, at least we got something out of this deal.
Yeah, there are two things that we should have by now, and people were talking about this in June. And one of them, of course, is a declaration by the North Koreans of all their missile and their nuclear weapons facilities. And the second is a firm timetable for disarmament. Those are really the two preconditions for further discussions with the North Koreans. If we don't get those, and a lot of people say that we won't, but if we don't get those, Trace, then I think that we have to go not talk to the North Koreans, apply the pressure so they realize that they have no choice but to disarm.
I got to go, but I quickly want to get your take on whether the president and Kim Jong-un decide to symbolically end the Korean War. Is that a good step? Is that a bad step? Your thoughts?
It's a bad step because right now the North Korean military is in the middle of its massive training exercise, the winter training cycle. It ends next month when the conditions for invasion of South Korea are the best in the year. I'd like to have a peace declaration, but only when there's real peace and when the North Koreans stop these large exercises.
Yeah, and of course, the North Koreans would want U.S. troops out of South Korea as soon as that thing was fully amended. Gordon Chang, good to see you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Trace.
Well, the House voting on whether to overturn President Trump's declaration of a national emergency. It's the move he made to free up funds to build a border wall. We'll see how this could all unfold coming up.
My experience with USAA has been excellent. They really appreciate the military family, and it really shows.
With all that USAA offers, why go with anybody else? We know their rates are good. We know that they're always going to take care of us.
It was an instant savings, and I should have changed a long time ago.
It was funny because when we would call another insurance company, they would say, oh, we can't be USAA.
We're the Weber family.
We're the Tennies.
We're the Hells, and we're USAA members for life.
Get your USAA auto insurance quote today.
Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey.